All right, NFL Network's Ian Rapoport, who is the busiest man in show business, joins me today for a one-on-one. And Ian, I think it's safe to say that the panic level for Vikings fans has subsided now that the Vikings have officially announced Kevin O'Connell as their head coach. Can you explain the process in which things were delayed?
I never got the sense of any panic. So when I was starting to get text messages Tuesday morning, around like 10 or 11 o'clock, I was kind of like, what are people talking about? Like this deal it wasn't done until Tuesday night, really pretty late, but this was done for a while. And, I don't know why people were freaking out. Kevin O'Connell was going to be the Vikings head coach for more than a week now. And, I chatted with him on the field before the Super Bowl. His whole focus was on the game, but it was pretty clear that this was an opportunity he was beyond excited about. He could have had, I don't know if I would say he could have had several different jobs, but he would have had a very good chance at a couple different jobs. Jacksonville Jaguars, I know he was a really strong candidate there. The Houston Texans, really strong candidate there. This was the job that he wanted. So to me, there was never any doubt that he was going to be the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. It was really just a matter of working out the deal and finalizing it. And it's weird and awkward because both sides knew this was going to happen. So how do you kind of negotiate while both sides know this is going to happen? But any sort of consternation or angst about the Rams and Sean McVay, like that had nothing to do with Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that and cleared that up. And now that he's officially here, what is your initial reaction to him being here, paired up with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who's the GM?
Yeah, this is the kind of guy you want to hire. He is young, he is bright, he's a former quarterback, so he's been there, he's been in high-pressure situations, and he's seen it at the highest level, from quarterback position and from just a team perspective. Drafted by the Patriots, has seen Tom Brady up close, go out through his career. He's learned in several different spots from some really, really, really good coaches, all the way to, the last couple of years with Sean McVay. This is one of the guys where if you're an organization and you want to hire a bright young leader, it's hard to get better. So to me, this made a lot of sense. I kind of didn't understand even before this year why O'Connell wasn't a hotter candidate. You can never quite tell what teams are looking for, but dynamic, good leader, former quarterback, has learned from some of the best and can really communicate his message. To me, that's what you would want in a head coach. And then to be paired with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, a first-time GM, obviously, without a lot of experience, but someone who I know in his interview was really impressive, and the people in the Browns organization speak extremely, extremely, extremely highly of him. Seems to be a really good match.
And that, pairing that with this being one of the hottest jobs that was open as far as like head coaching and GM vacancies all offseason, you pair that with these two guys. Yeah, it's a lot of happy times for a lot of people, but it's a lot of stress for a lot of other people. So when you look at this time and you say, okay, what personnel decisions have to be made for us to move forward? What are some glaring things that stand out to you?
Well, I think everybody wants to talk about the quarterback position, and I don't know how you could make a decision there. I mean, to me, the decision's made. Kirk Cousins is going to be your quarterback for the 2022 season, and colleague Tom Pelissero on NFL Network Super Bowl Sunday essentially reported the same thing. I mean, I guess sort of theoretically there's different things you could do, but I haven't sensed from inside the organization or from Kevin O'Connell, unless I'm missing it, I haven't sensed anyone doubting that Kirk Cousins is going to be back. Maybe there's a cap hit situation you have to deal with and figure that out, but I haven't sensed that at all. There are some other needs. I would say on defense, look at corner, which was supposed to be Mike Zimmer's specialty. Certainly could improve there. I know they tried. Spent a bunch of draft capital there, but could improve there. And with Danielle Hunter's availability and some doubt, is he going to be around next season? Is he not? What kind of contract is he going to get? How healthy is he? Some questions there. So, getting some help at edge rusher would make some sense. And then at offensive line, you got some young pieces. O'Neal, Ezra Cleveland, who's a baller. Could always get better on the offensive line. I think that would make some sense too.
Yeah, but just staying on the defensive side of the ball, where do you start? You talked about corner, you talked about defensive line. Where do you start in the offseason, whether that's free agency, trades, or the draft? Where do you start?
the best players. And that's where the Vikings are in a situation where, it's like in the draft, teams can really hurt themselves when they draft for need, right? So when you say, like, all right, well, I got to get this guy because we have a glaring hole at corner. And then you draft someone who's not a top prospect, but he's at the position you need. That's how you can make mistakes. So to me, it's about take the best players you can, put them all in your defense. And if there's areas where you need to get a little better, you kind of plug in until you can find someone to surpass that guy. So to me, on defense, just amassing the best players you can. Again, corner, edge rusher. It's not a unit that needs a full makeover. I don't think that, but just a couple players at some key spots would help.
Yeah, you talked about the draft a little bit. You got the combine coming up first, then you have free agency, and then after that you have the draft. So where do you see, or who do you see, or what position group do you see the Vikings taking with the 12th overall pick?
Best player available, and I would say, if that player is a quarterback, then it'll get interesting, but Kirk Cousins is one more year of his contract. So if they felt that the best player available is a quarterback at 12, that wouldn't be crazy. You could do worse as far as investing in a good young quarterback if you thought that was warranted, if you thought that quarterback is good enough. Otherwise, you took a tackle last year. I think it seems like it's a pretty deep draft, maybe not at the quarterback position, but at some other positions. Took a receiver recently, corner, edge rush, up front on the defensive line would make some sense. It's a team that I think can win games pretty quickly. So I'm not sure there's like that many glaring needs. So it's a good spot to draft. You get a lot of really good options. You can also, trade back if you want, just amass more picks. There's a lot of options. Vikings are in a really good spot. And again, I don't think they're a team that needs a total makeover. So couple key picks, couple key players, and sort of right back at it.
Well, Ian, appreciate your time today. Busiest man in show business, as I said before. I'm surprised your phone didn't ring or go off while we were doing this, but thank you again.
I got about 6 text messages, but that's it.
Well, I'm glad we didn't hear it. You didn't look down, so I appreciate it.